Welcome back to Comics with Drew. I'm Drew, and this is a review of a book that I don't physically have. Yeah. So, before I get into the review, I just want to preface this by saying that there are really important questions facing humanity right now. And that's the reason I'm doing such an important change up on the format. This is a very special episode of Comics with Drew. Now, these questions that are facing humanity are things like, global warming, things like, renewable energy. Those are very important questions. What is not an important question is who would win in a fight between a hunter, a ninja, and a bear? Yeah, that's a question that is not one of those pressing questions, but there is good news because the question has been answered in the form of a 300 a 300 page graphic novel, more than actually, called Hunter Ninja Bear. It is the first graphic novel. It's the first release coming from a brand new company called Fenom Comics. And Fenom Comics is a new comic publisher, and it was founded by Tom and Joe Fenoglio, brothers. And they are independently successful from comics, but they wanted to create a comic book company that was unrestricted from any of the typical editorial concerns that, the big two might have or Image might have. So what they set out to do was to found their own publishing company and hire top tier talent to work on their books. It's not unlike what Eric July has just done with Rippaverse. As you can see, the past week has been setting the internet on fire. So Tom and Joe, they got this book put together. They hired some people that you may have heard of. They hired Chuck Dixon to write this story. They hired Mel Ruby to draw the story. They hired Rob Hunter to ink the story. And they hired Ivan Nunes to color the story. And then they got Taylor Esposito to letter it. So we're talking about a top flight team. And I came across this because I happened to follow Taylor Esposito on Twitter, and he said that there is an upcoming project and he wanted to know if anybody would be interested in reviewing it. So I said, you know what? I'm just starting out on my YouTube channel. I'll take a shot at it. Yeah, go ahead and send it to me. And so what came out of that was an email from Tom Fenoglio with Hunter Ninja Bear. It is a massive work. Not only is it massive, it is epic, and it is entirely uncalled for in all the best ways imaginable. It is an amazing book. It is a staggering book. And I'm only doing this review because it's so good. I get a lot of book submissions for reviews, and I don't generally review them unless I've got something I can, add to it. With Hunter Ninja Bear, there's not really anything I can add to it because, in my opinion, it is the perfect comic book. It's or graphic novel. I keep saying comic book because what it is really 13 regular standard comic book issues crammed together in one giant graphic novel. And, they were wanting me to review this because of the fact that they were going to launch a Kickstarter and try to get it crowdfunded. But, I looked further into this, and because Tom and Joe are new to this industry, they're new to the comic book industry, they just went ahead and made the book. They didn't bother going to get crowdfunding done for it. So they've got it ready to go, and they are going to be launching a new IndieGoGo here pretty shortly, and it's set. It's done. Once that campaign closes, you will get your book immediately. That's how on top of it these guys are. This is a rare thing. This is a rare thing that you see where you've got new players in the comics industry and they have their act entirely together, like 100% done. And it's such a refreshing breath of air. It's just an amazing achievement. It really is. The plot of Hunter Ninja Bear is pretty basic, right? And that's one of the beauties of the story, is that it's a basic story that has allowed someone with the creative talent of Chuck Dixon to elaborate and build a huge epic world from, with lots of interesting characters that have all different kinds of backstories that are perfect for exploring in future projects with this particular world. But it's not anything that's really hard to follow. It's really essentially about a blood feud between a supernatural bear the last remaining ninja of a ninja clan and a bear hunter from America. In brief, the plot is basically about these villagers in Japan who decide that they're going to build on this mountain that happens to be a sacred mountain for bears, and not just any kind of bears, not your average bear, but supernatural, very intelligent bears, right? And they don't talk, but they are savage, and they're very savage. If you've ever played Red Dead Redemption 2 and you've been attacked by a grizzly, you know they aren't anything to mess with. So the bears do not take kindly to the villagers encroaching upon their sacred mountain. So they attack the villagers. The villagers avenge themselves against the bears. And so the bears go and wipe out the rest of the village, and they leave one sole survivor. And it happens to be this ninja. And while he's sifting through the rubble of the village, he finds a book. It's like a dime store novel that tells the adventures of this legendary bear hunter in the United States and America. So the ninja decides that he's going to set off to America to find this bear hunter, and he's going to try to bring him back to help him kill this crazy psychopathic bear. So when he gets to America, he finds the hunter. The hunter has already been told of a legend, a Native American legend, of this bear that fought a sun god, and the name of the bear is Cloudfire. He's a fierce bear, and so the hunter is all about the glory. He wants to go kill this bear, so he agrees to come back to Japan with the ninja to fight the bear, and shenanigans ensue, to say the least. This is not a quick read. This is a very mature story, and it's aimed at mature readers, but it doesn't hold anything back. It's got some of the best art I've ever seen in a comic book. It's an outstanding book. And like I said, it's going to be available pretty soon on an IndieGoGo, and I highly recommend that you pick it up. I cannot stress how good this book is. So to talk a little bit about Fenom Comics, it's not very often that you get a chance to, read the first thing that a new company is coming out with. Bad Idea did it recently, but Bad Idea isn't anywhere near as organized as Fenom Comics is. They actually know what they're doing, and they're straightforward about it, and they just want to give you a good story. I love the fact that they got Chuck Dixon to write this book, because it's nothing but the story. There isn't any kind of agenda on it. It's just, we've got a story that we want to tell about a hunter and a ninja and a bear and them fighting to the death, and it's got this very, kung fu kind of vibe to it, even though there is no kung fu in the book. It's just this epic kind of legendary tale. And again, I can't even begin to tell you just how amazing it is. I want to show you some of the art here on this. The book starts off in Japan and has some amazing art right off the bat. You know that you're in for a real treat when you see the first couple of pages. This page right here with the Ninja Clan is telling the backstory of the ninja's family. And, you've got these guys. This is how you do action, right? You've got ninjas crashing through walls. You've got 4 of them here, and, you've got everything shattering. This is coming right at you, and it's an amazing way to open the book. And it just kind of tells you the history of what's been going on as far as the ninjas are concerned. And that's one of the key things about the book. It's not only the fact that we have the hunter and the ninja and the bear, we've got the backstory behind each of them to give you an idea of, where they're going and how they got to where they are. Another thing that I like about the book is that they take time to actually get you involved emotionally. That's a problem that a lot of books have these days, where they don't actually really have the time to get you emotionally hooked into a story. But when you are going to combine 13 issues or chapters into one book all at the same time, well, that allows you to have that flexibility to let that story, percolate. And you see that with, shots like these kids here, and they're chasing the fireflies. And then you've got the shot where Satoru is going over his ninja training, and one of the issues here is that he wants to remember the old ways, but the village and the family that he's part of wants to, embrace the modern world that's coming around. So to that end, he's trying to train them about ninjas, and the patriarch of the entire village is like, no, you gotta get your head out of the past. You need to focus on, what we need to do for the future. And the reason that this is important is because it gives you real stakes. So, like I said, Mel Ruby is the artist here, and he's worked on Spider-Man, Uncanny X-Men, Doctor Strange, Wolverine, and you've got Rob Hunter on inks, and he's doing Batman, Green Lantern, and Justice League. That's his experience. And then you got Ivan Nunes, who's doing the colors, and this artwork is, you're not going to find better artwork in a comic book, period. One of the things that I've been going on about a lot in comics lately is the fact that we have this trend where professional artists are putting out suboptimal work. Not the case in Hunter Ninja Bear. And not only do you have like the fantastic art for every chapter here, you've got basically covers. They made this book like it was going to be a mini series of floppies, and so to that end you've got the main cover, and then you usually have a black and white pencil sketch of it that shows you the kind of process that went into making it. It's a prestige format graphic novel, so it's not possible to oversell the way that the book looks. It's just a phenomenal book, and no pun intended. So again, there's some art in this book that I think is some of the best art that I've ever seen, and I wanted to kind of bring your attention to this. Look at the way these bears here are coming across this stream. You know, you've got that steam going up there. You've got so much atmosphere, and you know that they are looking for trouble, right? And it's just staggering. There are no shortcuts in this art. There just isn't. It's like in Jurassic Park. No expense was spared. The Fenoglio brothers really put everything that they could into making this the best book possible. This is the best version of this book. I can't imagine it doing anything else differently to make it more epic than it is. Another page that I love is this shot of the bear in the fire, and then you've got our ninja, and you can tell that there's just so much emotion going on in this image. You know, I mean, it's hard to stage something better than what you see here. You are getting your money's worth with this book. So if you wind up actually backing this book, which I recommend wholeheartedly, then you will not be disappointed. Suffice it to say, when you have art like this is the first shot that we get of Wilkers, which is the hunter. And look at the way that the light is played across his face with the shade and with the leaves. This is top tier artwork. This is an amazing book. This panel right here actually is probably my favorite panel in the book. And you might not think that this is that important because it's really just setting a scene. When I came across this panel, that's when I knew that this book was destined to be in my library for certain. This is something that could serve as a painting. The way that you've got the subtle glow of the campfire, the way that you've got the sky reflecting off the pond, you got the stars, you've got the tents all set up. I want to hang out here. I want to spend the night here and just enjoy the atmosphere. And when you have art that can do that, that's when you know that you're looking at something special. And so, you know, again, I can go through page after page after page of art with this book. It's just an amazing, outstanding book. So, like I said, they're going to be launching an IndieGoGo here soon. And after that's done, the goal is to get the books into actual comic shops. So Tom and Joe aren't just trying to do a crowdfund. They are, like I said, they're launching a company, and this is just the first book. Some of the upcoming books that they have are Something Fierce, which appears to be a supernatural fight club for hot women. Obviously, there's a market for that. Another cover that you get to see in this book are Seven Deadly Sinners. This is another book by Chuck Dixon. Looks like it's about a biker gang. Another book that really looks good is Star Riders. It looks like a science fiction horror book. This book is actually colored by the same colors for Young Ripa for ISOM #1. Tom and Joe are wanting to just do the best work possible, and they don't care about your politics. They don't care about, you know, your social views. And that's really all that anybody's ever really wanted with comics these days. Trying to get them back to just good stories that are enjoyable for everybody. Comics are actually for everyone. And Fenom Comics, I believe, represents the best of the ideals of people that are disappointed with the, you know, wokeness and the political grandstanding of the last 10 years in comics. All I can say is that with Hunter Ninja Bear, they are crushing it. These guys are savage. Again, the book is 5 stars, 10 out of 10. It's one of the best comic books / graphic novels I have ever read in my entire life. period. When this does get launched on IndieGoGo, I am going to buy it. There is no doubt about it. I wish that I had it physically in my hand right now, because there's not much like this on the market, right? There really isn't. There really aren't people taking risks to put together awesome, crazy, wacky stories that are professional from top to bottom. You know, the entire team, from Chuck Dixon to Mel Ruby to Rob Hunter to Ivan Nunes to Taylor Esposito, these are top tier professionals putting their best work out. So again, Hunter Ninja Bear, it's an epic in all senses of the word graphic novel, and it's going to be available really shortly here on IndieGoGo. You know, there's just so much in the book. I would love to be able to do reviews of every chapter, but because the book is actually published and it's ready to go, they just need to get the crowdfunding set up for it, and then you'll be able to purchase it. Once the crowdfund closes, the book will be available immediately. It'll be shipping out instantaneously. Everything that I've seen as far as my interactions with Tom and Joe is that they know what they're doing and they are serious about putting out the best product possible. So you can't argue with a graphic novel about a hunter and a ninja and a bear written by Chuck Dixon. I mean, what else? There's nothing for you to say other than take my money, please. I urge you, if you have the opportunity, to pick this up as quickly as possible. There is no wait time. The book is already printed out. They are just waiting for people to buy it. And once they get that crowdfund set and completed, they'll be going into fulfillment directly, and you will not be waiting for this book. So that's something that I think is the best of both worlds. You've got a fantastic book. It's already made. It's made by top flight professionals, and it's one of the best things I've ever read. Honestly, as a comic book reviewer, I never expected to see anything like this, and I cannot recommend it enough. So again, thanks for watching Comics with Drew. I'm Drew, and I'll catch you next time.